Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Freedom and F91 here on Kulas Ravine. Here we have Freedom spawning as the, pink Zerg player over here at the 4 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have F91 spawning over here as the teal or light blue, sky blue Zerg player at the 10 o'clock position. Now, some of you guys may have noticed I removed the part 1 from this cast, and I guess decided that people were throwing the Oxford Dictionary at me enough to say that it can't be a part 1 if there is no part 2. So my solution for this is, even if it is part 1, I am not going to include part 1 in its title any longer. So those of you guys who don't want to be spoiled on how long the cast is, you don't have to worry about that. Those of you guys who are throwing the English dictionary at me saying that it can't be part 1 unless there's a part 2, you guys are also put at ease. For those of you guys who like to know how many parts of a replay there are before you start watching, just take a look at the description of the game before, and as you open it up, I will generally put part 2 as a link there, and you guys will be able to find it. This is only for those of you guys who watch my replays on a daily basis. So really no changes if you guys are watching my games after 2 days or even 2 days or even after like 15 hours after I post them up. But otherwise, yeah, all safe there. Anyways, coming back into this game, we have Freedom spawning a spawning pool over here. It looks to be about a 13 or a 14 spawning pool, and also getting an early gas. Back over here, FG1 getting early gas as well, and also getting that spawning pool. So, sorry, F91. I gotta stop reading his name, and it is really F91, even though he chose FGL for his name in Battle.net. I guess his professional name is F91. So, both players pretty much at exactly mirror build. Both of them perhaps playing against each other very often, knows exactly the same strategies and the same build. It just seems that Freedom has better macro and more practice in terms of these builds, able to just mine faster, build faster, and in order to get a little bit of that advantage every step of the way. FG1 sitting on 16 harvesters compared to Freedom's 14. So Freedom is a little bit behind. This is the first time I've seen them behind in this 3-game matchup. These two overlords crossing each other, so both players will know where the other one is. Taking a look at the unit production, Freedom, however, getting the metabolic boost, so that metabolic boost will increase the speed upgrade for those Zerglings. So those Zerglings will be able to traverse across the field very quickly. Kulas Ravine, a rather large map if you are cross-spawn. Not as many hills though, so you don't have to worry about line of sight nearly as much. Zerglings now, it looked as though Freedom got those Zerglings and that spawning pool out a little bit earlier, and then his opponent, then F91. There is a group of Zerglings sitting here, so that group of Zerglings may get a surround off on these Zerglings, able to take down one of those very easily. One Zergling down to 6 hit points, able to run away and hide another day. So that Zergling now still scampering us around, really won't be able to deal any damage. In the main base of F91, Zerglings once again pulling back out. We do have a Roach Warren finished being built in the back of F91's base. Now, for Roaches versus Zerglings, it really depends on upgrades and whether and numbers. Zerglings are able to flank Roaches fairly easily, and now that the Roaches no longer have an armor of 2, those Zerglings get taken down much more easily. Queen, however, already down to 95 hit points and trying to hide once again, in the back of that base. Zerglings with that speed boost able to move even more quickly on that creep. However, F91 has Roaches, so those Roaches will be able to splash damage onto those, or spit damage onto those Zerglings, and those Zerglings will essentially fall based upon the numbers. 4 food here versus essentially 4.5 food of Zerglings here. So that's not going to work out too well. Roach is now pushing out, and those Zerglings pulling back once again. So those Zerglings run away to fight another day. But he was able to force F91 to sit in his base for quite some time, and we already have Freedom sitting at tier 2 and also getting the Spire. He also has a single Spine Crawler down, and with F91 able to get this single Zergling into position, he will be able to spot down that Spire. Roach is guarding the front door trying to perhaps get to tier 2. Yeah, we are at tier 2. I do not see a Hydralisk Den yet, and that really is an issue. F91 should probably get a Hydralisk Den now rather than later, as he's going to be significantly behind once those Mutalisks are in the air. Those Roaches are not going to be able to counter those Hydralisks. Roaches now scampering across, trying to block this front door. You can't walk out the front door without stepping on a couple Roaches here, as the Zerglings trying to push on in. However, those Roaches able to kill off a couple Zerglings, and those Zerglings were hoping to do a run by, but there are too many Roaches here. And getting the Evolve Glio Reconstitution in order to increase the movement speed of those Roaches, and now those Roaches just scampering across the ground. Zerglings sitting back here, so we may go for a little bit of a flank as those Roaches are trying to push on in. There is one Spinecrawler on this front door with this Overlord generating creep, so that Spinecrawler will be able to do a little bit of a fight, and those Zerglings may be able to stop those Roaches and get them stuck. One Spinecrawler, in comes this attack, and now Zergling's getting a nice surround off. So getting a surround off, some of those Roaches just scampering there, getting destroyed by those Spinecrawlers, and now those Spinecrawlers being forced to pull back, not going to have enough units to really counter these Zerglings. Zerglings now trying to delay more of these Roaches. 5 Roaches able to run past those Spinecrawlers and get towards those drones. One drone gets taken down. However, the Mutalisks, now that they're in the air, will be able to focus down those Roaches, and this whole entire attack is not going to deal enough damage to the economy of Freedom, and Freedom losing that final Roach. Unit combination for FG, or for Freedom, sitting on 6 Mutalisks. 6 Mutalisks fighting against 4 Roaches here. One drone almost taken down once again. However, Roaches trying to scamper around, trying to take down those drones. Those drones gonna be able to survive, and now I cannot imagine F91 trying to send in more Roaches, as those Roaches will just get taken down. Roaches looking to try to go through that back door, but there is an Overlord in the air, and realizing that that Overlord's there is gonna try to pull away, knowing that those Mutalisks will be able to easily take down those Roaches, and those Roaches are now just in trouble. Roaches unable to spit into the air, those Mutalisks able to focus down those Roaches. Roaches just getting taken down so easily, running into the main base of Freedom, perhaps to pull those Mutalisks away and delay the inevitable attack of Mutaling, which will be knocking on the front door of FG1. FG1 finally has this Hydralisk Den. Hydralisk Den now trying to destroy these destructible rocks over here. Only 5 Hydralisks currently for F91, and also a single or a couple of Roaches trying to come in as well. Creep Tumor being laid down, and they're going to start spinning out this creep across the map. Zergling's able to move very quickly on that creep, and in come these Mutalisks. Mutalisks now trying to take down some of these Overlords. Hydralisks, an even number of Hydralisks versus those Mutalisks. Mutaling now trying to focus down some of those Hydralisks, and it looks as though the Zerglings have a higher aggro threat than the Mutalisks. So those Hydralisks were trying to focus down those Mutalisks, but now those Mutalisks able to finish off the rest of those Hydralisks. One final Queen left behind. Queen down to 40 hit points, and that is going to be GG. I cannot imagine anything else. There are 4 more Hydralisks being trained up, but the Harvester count is already falling, and down to 22 Harvesters instead of 25. Those Hydralisks still pulling away, and now those drones losing precious mining time, but at least able to fight another day, or mine another day. 4 Hydralisks coming on to try to battle against these 6 Mutalisks that are in the air, now coming up to 8 Mutalisks. So 8 Mutalisks versus 4 Hydralisks. The Hydralisks do not counter those Mutalisks that well. Mutalisks focusing down those Hydralisks. Sheer number of Mutalisks from Freedom, and now down goes the last Hydralisk. One final Queen is all that really stands in the way, and that Queen gets taken down. So Freedom takes this game as well. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this replay. Apologies for not being able to get more games up today, as Blizzard was announcing or had a little bit of a patch issue, and on top of that, a couple of my videos got corrupted. Thanks for watching.